All righty, guys. Good morning. How is everybody today? Man. Okay, so I've been doing this is like my 24th field show, okay, in a row, right? It's the best back-to-back-to-back weather we've ever had. It's been amazing. We didn't even need these air conditioners, but still comfortable in the tent here today, guys. So good morning. I'm Craig Moore. I'm the corn lead. I'm based out of central Indiana here. So my job is really all about genetics, okay, and evaluating genetics as they come through our breeding program, as they come through our testing program. But today, we're going to talk about the things that protect those genetics in our technologies, okay? And so I'm going to talk for the first 15 or so minutes on corn technologies. And then Craig Hurley's here with us, our soybean lead, and he's going to talk about soybean technologies with you. So I'm going to talk about kind of where we've been, okay, and where we're going and kind of where we are today in regard to the corn technology. So as you know, at Beck's, we have access to all the technologies in the marketplace, okay? And so what that allows us to do is really customize what you need on your farm in terms of the level of protection, that level of trait protection on your farm that you need, and then pair that with genetics that are regionally adapted and high performing for your area. So that combination is something that really no one else can deliver in the industry because we have access to all the traits within the industry, along with all that genetic access as well. So when you put this combination together on your farm of regional adaptation, along with the right protection on your farm, we can really deliver an unmatched solution here for your farm. So talking about the corn technology, so these are the current ones in the marketplace for the above and below ground side. So when you think about rootworm acres and you think about above ground pests like corn borer, corn earworm, and those types of things, that's what we're going to get protection from each one of these technologies, okay? On the left-hand side here, these are the bare above and below ground traits. So you have SmartStax Pro, SmartStax, and VT4 Pro. We're going to talk about some of the ones that were new this past year on the next coming slides here. The middle part there is the Corteva above and below ground traits. So there you have Vorseed. Vorseed was a new technology last year, so we're going to spend a little bit more time on it. We've got the Chrome technology as well. And then the Agrasure side, or the Syngenta traits there on the far right-hand side there, you've got Duracade Viptera and the Duracade hybrids, which again are your above and below ground traits from all your major suppliers here. So the first one I want to spend a little bit more time on is the VT4 Pro system, okay? New technology last year with VT4 Pro. The exciting part about what VT4 Pro added was the below ground technology of RNAi, okay? Brand new technology that the rootworms have not seen before. We get rootworm resistance out there in areas because they've seen the same proteins for multiple years. So anytime we get a new protein or a new control mechanism on the marketplace, we get pretty excited about that because it's something those rootworms haven't seen, okay? VT4 Pro above ground is paired with VT Double Pro, or your above ground corn borer protection, along with the Viptera system. So you've got the Tricepta system there. So when you go out in our signage on our corn plot today and see TCV2P, that's what it has in that above ground portion. So that's going to give you corn borer protection, corn earworm protection, western bean cutworm, a very broad lepidopteran pest control here on the above ground side. And you pair that with some below ground technology with the first yield guard rootworm that was on the marketplace here for below ground, combined with the newest one there in RNAi. We also think about what we can spray on these hybrids as well. The most important part to call out here with the VT4 Pro system is you can't spray that with Liberty. SmartStax, SmartStax Pro, Chrome, Vorseed, you can spray those technologies over the top with Liberty. The VT4 Pro system, we're going to treat that like our Tricepta system or our VT Double Pro system, and we're not going to be able to spray Liberty on over the top post with the VT4 Pro system. So brand new technology. Last year we have some exciting new genetics. With the VT4 Pro system, as we think about what acre we're going to place this on, it's more the moderate rootworm acre, okay? Where we have some more extreme and more heavier challenging situations with rootworm, we're going to go to a different technology, either the SmartStax Pro or the Vorseed system, okay? So the Vorseed system was new last year, okay? So the Vorseed system has above and below ground protection. It has that same RNAi technology below ground like we talked about with the VT4 Pro system, But with the Vorseed system, we also include the Herculex traits, okay? So we have Herculex rootworm, we have the RNAi system, we have the Yield Guard rootworm as well that we talked about. So we have 3 below ground modes of action with the Vorseed system. So as we think about corn after corn, extreme pressure there in the rootworm situation, we're going to talk about the Vorseed system as the hybrids that we're going to want to promote on those acres with that difficult challenge of rootworm, okay? We also think about the herbicides and the modes of action that we have with Vorseed as well. So as we think about corn after corn, we can have some challenging weed situations, okay? With Vorseed, we can spray Liberty or glufosinate over the top. We can spray glyphosate or Roundup over the top. And then we also have 2 other modes of action here as well. It's paired with Enlist, so if you're familiar with Enlist on soybeans, that's your 2,4-D type chemistries. You can spray Enlist over the top here of the Vorseed system. What this also brings us as well is fusillade control, or if you spray Assure 2, you can spray Assure 2 over the top of your corn, okay? Normally you're spraying fusillade to kill your volunteer corn, right, in your soybeans. This technology here allows you to spray fusillade over the top. So as you go into a corn after corn situation, if you had volunteer corn from the prior year, it would kill that. If you have grass pressures and things like that, this gives us a lot of opportunity for weed control in the Vorseed system that we're pretty excited about as well. So above and below ground protection here, along with a whole host of things that we can do for weed control, is the Vorseed system, okay? This slide is a little complex here, okay? You might want to take a picture of this one if you want to analyze it later. So you have all the technologies that are in the marketplace today on the above and below ground side, and then you have the traits along the top side there. And I show this to just kind of demonstrate how many traits are within each one of these technologies. The main one I want to call out here is SmartStax Pro and Vorseed. You see the check boxes there for VT Double Pro, Herculex, Yield Guard rootworm, Herculex rootworm, and RNAi. They're the same technology. They're marketed under different names, so that can be confusing, but I want to make sure that, that you guys know that these 2 technologies do have the same traits within them. Now, as we talked about on Vorseed, it is paired with Enlist, so that is a differentiator versus the SmartStax Pro that does not have the Enlist system with it, but they do have the same traits. So as we think about those extreme corn after corn environments, the SmartStax Pro and the Vorseed are going to be our 2 top recommendations there for your extreme corn after corn and your heaviest rootworm pressure. And then we're going to come along with a SmartStax product as well that has that Herculex rootworm and the Yield Guard rootworm, very good for our moderate rootworm areas, VT4 Pro as well as the Chrome, Duracade, and Duracade Viptera for that more moderate rootworm acre. So a lot of options here and a lot of genetics as well that are available across all of these different technologies. Okay, we're going to move to the above ground side now. And really the same story exists on the above side as it does on the above and below side. So you've got your Bayer traits here with Tricepta and VT Double Pro. The middle part is your Corteva traits here with PowerCore Enlist and AcreMax. And then the Syngenta traits there on the right-hand side with Viptera and AgriSure above, okay? And so as we look at the Tricepta system here over the next few years, we're going to see the Tricepta system really replace the VT Double Pro system, okay? So Tricepta is that combination of VT Double Pro plus Viptera. So we get that above ground protection from corn borer, above ground protection from western bean cutworm, as well as corn earworm. The PowerCore Enlist system was new last year. We're going to talk more about it here in just a second, and it's going to replace the AM or the AcreMax system here over the next few years. We think about Viptera and AgriSure above. The Viptera system is that corn borer system plus above ground protection from your broadleaf pests. And then the AgriSure above system is the Yield Guard corn borer system that's also got glyphosate and Liberty tolerance in it as well. Okay. So PowerCore Enlist, new last year, and a whole host of genetics that we have in our lineup that are PowerCore. And so a lot of our conversation here that we talked about with the Vorseed system, we pair that with Enlist, and it gives us a lot of different options that we can spray over the top of this above ground technology in PowerCore. We get tolerances to European corn borer, fall armyworm, southwestern corn borer, very good above ground protection, capability of spraying Liberty and glyphosate over the top, along with that Enlist system, and then again, along with that Fusilade or Assure 2 that we can also spray over the top here with the Power Core Enlist system. So the Power Core Enlist system is the combination of V2P plus Herculex 1. So that's a technology that's been in the marketplace, both those technologies, but it's the first time that they've been combined. So you can see the breakdown of the different technologies here that we have for the above ground side, and then across the top there are the traits that are involved in each one of these technologies. Again, if you're looking for that corn earworm control, which we've had a lot of over the past few years, we continue to see more and more corn earworm pressure. We have 3 technologies here that are going to help you in that regard, protecting your ears from those ear-feeding insects with Tricepta, the Power Core Ultra system, plus the Viptera system, okay? So a lot of options here to think about for those control of those particular pests there. Okay, as we move forward, okay, this is all about innovation. The ag industry is built on innovation, okay? And so as we think about where we've been currently and in the past, we're going to talk about those technologies that we've covered, and then what's it look like for the future with our biotech traits, okay? The first slide here is our Bayer slide, okay? We're going to go through and talk about Bayer, Corteva, and Syngenta in terms of their pipeline. What do their newest traits look like? When are they coming? And those types of things. So next up for Bayer 2028 launch is Corn Rootworm 4. Does not have a trade name now. I'm sure we'll have a trade name for that here soon. But 2028, what's exciting about Corn Rootworm 4 is it's built on 2 non-cry proteins, okay? We've been in the trait segment here for almost 25 years. We've had traits on the marketplace, 30 years. Those have all been your cry crystalline proteins in terms of what's been controlling our rootworm and our corn borer. What's exciting about Corn Rootworm 4, it's going to be built on the RNAi technology that we talked about with V4 Pro and SmartStax Pro and Vorseed. So it'll be built on the RNAi system, but then it'll also have 2 new non-cry proteins. So that's exciting for the folks that have had some resistance issues in terms of rootworm. It's also exciting for the additional level of control that we can also expect here with Corn Rootworm 4. Okay, short corn. How many people have heard of Preceon before? Okay, this is the short corn technology from Bayer, okay? So as we get late this decade, it's going to be a biotech trait. Right now you see Preceon out in the field. There's a lot of trialing going on with Preceon corn. That is short inbred by short inbred. It's not commercially viable to make large seed quantities of Preceon corn today. As we think about late in this decade, there's going to be a biotech trait, which means that's going to be normal size inbred by normal size inbred, okay? The offspring of that will be short corn, okay? So I think there's some key advantages here with the Preceon system and the overall short corn. As we shrink the height of this corn, we think about more in-season management opportunity, fungicide applications, nitrogen applications that we have in terms of the intensive management with this short corn. We also think about the additional standability that we can also have. Root lodging and green snap are persistent issues for us in the corn belt, and this shorter corn has better standability, okay? Most important with the short corn to me is population, okay? From 2014 to 2024, so the past 10 years, we've not increased plant populations in the United States, okay? We've been very flat on our planted population. We're not seeing an economical gain. You as farmers aren't seeing that economical gain from increasing plant populations in 30-inch rows. What we're seeing through shorter corn is one, from a root architecture piece and a root volume piece, the root volume isn't reduced in those higher plant population situation like it is with tall corn, okay? As we talk with tall corn, for every 1,000 plants of additional population, you reduce root size by 2.5%. What we're seeing so far in the short corn system is you don't see that reduction. So we think there's economical yield to be gained in the short corn by increasing plant population. We also think we're going to maximize that potentially by narrowing the rows as well. So pretty excited about the Preceon system, reduced statured corn, short corn, and what that's going to mean for us. Doesn't mean it's for every acre, but there are several acres out there that I see it being a fit on. As we move over to the next decade, we won't spend a lot of time on these, but we've got HT5, a new herbicide tolerance that's going to come, a new mode of action. We don't get one of those very often, so I think there's some excitement around a new mode of action for additional weed control options there. And then LEP 5, okay? So that's additional broad LEP control here, above ground protection. We'll have new technologies there to really help protect us from those lepidopteran pests here with the LEP 5 system, okay? As we move to Corteva in the pipeline here, okay? So today we've got Chrome, Vorceed Enlist, PowerCore Enlist technologies that I went through on the prior slides. Corteva will also have reduced statured corn, okay? Beck's will have the opportunity to market both systems, both Preceon and the reduced statured corn. So when you think about genetic diversity and that opportunity to diversify your farm with 2 different systems and 2 different genetics, we're pretty excited about what reduced statured corn is going to do. Same advantages that we talked about with the Preceon system, that shorter corn for that in-season management opportunity, increasing plant populations for economical yield. A lot of excitement there for the reduced statured corn. Multi-disease resistance, so basically breeding in additional disease tolerance into the corn plant, okay? We know we have fungicides out there as a tool. This multi-disease resistance will come alongside our fungicide tools, improve gray leaf spot, improve northern corn leaf blight, along with our crown rots and some of our other disease complexes as well. Down here at the bottom, a 3rd generation above and below ground traits paired with this YYS1. So what is YYS1? That's a yield stability gene, okay? So today when Corteva talks about Aquamax hybrids for stability and drought tolerance, they're going to breed in additional traits that will add to the stability and the drought tolerance of the genetics. So a lot of exciting things coming there from the Corteva side, okay? Then on the Syngenta side, we've got their corn trait pipeline. And actually they have some traits that are gonna come to market sooner than the other 2 here with Durastack and Durastack Viptera. So those names were just announced here recently. So what is Durastack and Durastack Viptera, okay? Durastack and Durastack Viptera are above and below ground technologies, okay? We're gonna take the Duracade technology that's currently in the marketplace, and we have the Chrome technologies that's currently in the marketplace, and we combine those 2 that have not been combined before, and we have a great option there for corn after corn, okay? Again, more protection from that above and below ground. We pair that with Viptera and we get some tremendous above ground protection from corn earworm and western bean cutworm, okay? As we move forward in the future with the Syngenta trait platform, a next generation lepidopteran trait or a next generation Viptera trait that will likely be built upon that Viptera trait. They also have another corn rootworm trait in their pipeline as well. And then another mode of action for herbicide tolerance as well for our weed control spectrum as well. So some pretty exciting stuff here from Syngenta that they're working with here in the future as well. So again, the industry, the ag industry is built on this innovation, and there'll be a lot of things coming to help both protect yield as well as be able to have us have additional options for weed control. As I wrap up today, I want to just mention advanced agrilytics, okay? So advanced agrilytics and Ag Ingenuity Partners are somebody that we've been working with over the past few years, and we're doing some really intensive corn research with advanced agrilytics and Ag Ingenuity Partners. On the customer side, they also have scouting services, and they really do a great job in terms of really challenging us and challenging the growers on how you're thinking in terms of placing your products, how you're thinking in terms of managing your crops. So the advanced agrilytics folks are actually here today. So the vendor tent is right outside this tent. So if you guys would like to go out and talk to advanced agrilytics, I would encourage you to do so. They have some great techniques. They have some great innovations that they're doing as well. And they are here today. And so if you do get the chance, they're over there in the vendor tent. So definitely go check them out. So with that, I'm going to bring Craig Hurley up, our soybean lead, and he will talk through the soybean technologies. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Craig. Craig mentioned it. Innovation is at the forefront of what's going to lead us into the next generation of productivity in agriculture. And so we continue to be excited both in corn and soybeans around what is happening in the space technologically. Many of you have seen the autonomous machines and the lawnmowers and everything else, and it's interesting to think about not only what's happening in the ag space, but what's happening across all industries right now and where they'll merge and what that'll lead to in terms of opportunities for us in the future. On the soybean side of things, we have been kind of in a fixed position for just a little bit. We've been running Enlist and Extend Flex as the primary herbicide trait options. And so for us, much like on corn, having access, both broad and deep access to traits and germplasm is a key component of what the Beck family has cultivated, what we look forward to in terms of future opportunities for us coming through these pipelines, and as we get new technologies, still having the same ability to access both trait and germplasm. Because one of the core pillars of Beck's is to be at the forefront of new technology and innovation. And so when we look at all the new technologies that we see here at the show, and the new ones we'll see next year at the show and year after year, that are going to help us and to take that next generation to an even deeper level of understanding or greater opportunity for maximizing yield and performance. Those are exciting things for us to be a part of. So when we're able to access across multiple germplasm providers, multiple traits, for us it's really about putting those all together and proving out and answering the questions that you have, because every year I've got some of you that are saying, well, I've been on this system and I want to go the other direction. I think as long as you tell me that there's performance to match with what I want to do from a yield perspective. And so when we have new technologies, we want to put them side by side, test them together, and be able to say with confidence, this is what we see, and this is what you can expect to experience from a performance standpoint. So that's been the forefront. It doesn't really matter the map so much as the point of testing in the unique environments side by side. The proving grounds is what I call our soybean replicated testing, to make sure that we're looking at different environments, different soil conditions, different yield levels, different opportunities for each of you in terms of positioning of products and understanding how that combination of germplasm and trait are going to help you manage weeds or help you maximize yield, or both. The same is true for our seed treatment package. So we have the Escalade umbrella name, but as we look at the components, they're always evolving and changing, okay? And so this year alone, when we looked at what's planted this year with the Saltro, we know that certain parts of our geography are now dealing with what's called red crown rot in soybeans, a disease that is expanding its footprint, a lot of it in southern Illinois and that geography, but also identified just recently in one of the counties in Ohio, just north of Columbus. And so as we continue to see new diseases or diseases that we have started to see come in, we need to be at the forefront of that when it comes to our seed treatment as well. And so Saltro is a tool in the toolbox. It will help suppress the red crown rot, but we know that there's also new ones in the pipeline that are going to help even more. And so we want to look for things like that and continue to advance new technologies into the treatment space to help protect that yield as well. When it comes to the pipeline technologically right now, this is what's happening with the Bear Camp. And so when we think about the next major trait introduction, it'll be called Viconic. Last year we were talking about it as HT4 because it didn't have a trade name yet. And so Viconic will basically take what you've got in your list as far as active ingredients. So we'll have 2,4-D, we'll have glyphosate, right, as far as Roundup and Liberty. And then we'll also have from the other side dicamba tolerance. And then the fifth one is mesotrione. So you think about like a Callisto type of herbicide, that family of chemistry. So when those come to market, that'll all be stacked in one single soybean. Okay, so when we think about a lot of the conversations that I've had around weeds and what's happening, and what the conversations have been here, I hear the word water hemp this year more than ever. Some of you are experiencing it for the first time, and I'm sorry that you are. Some of you have been battling that for quite a while, but we need to have all the tools available to us to mix and match herbicides and keep the weeds guessing is what I like to say, keep the insects guessing. And so being able to find and innovate and have the new technology in front of us is going to be critical. So Viconic will put those 5 active ingredients together in one single variety, and that's going to give us some flexibility into the herbicide options as far as how and what we use for all of our soybeans when those come to market. This is an example from Bayer in terms of what they've seen with water hemp when you add a mesotrione type of family of chemistry into the mix. So you can see 2,4-D and Liberty on the left, but then also that 2,4-D, Liberty, and then the mesotrione as far as chemistry and how in some situations it may help us to minimize some of that pressure from water hemp or to help even manage those better than we are in current situations. So again, innovation technology, being able to be a little bit more broad spectrum in our weed herbicide options in a single system, we feel like there's going to be a lot of value in being able to do that and a lot of opportunity for our customers, hopefully to manage weeds a little bit better through that system. Another innovation that is in the pipeline that is called HT5 then would add PPO tolerance to the mix, okay? And so we know our PPOs are very effective in terms of weed management. We also know that they can be a little bit tougher on soybeans as the soybeans try to metabolize those PPO chemistries early season. And so Bayer is also working on PPO tolerance into the future, okay? And this is a little bit farther down the line, but you can see this example on the left. Those 2 rows of Bayer soil essentially were varieties that were not tolerant to the PPO herbicide or the PPO chemistry. And those on the other side have the tolerance to PPOs that they're working on in terms of that innovation into the pipeline. So obviously you can see that the PPO tolerance is very effective, and it would give us another tool in terms of, again, managing weeds. That one's a little farther down in terms of timeline. We'll expect to see that more first part of next decade, but it is coming on the heels of Viconic, which we think will be here in 2027 type of time frame for the Viconic varieties, and then into the future with the next stage at HT5 that's going to add that PPO tolerance. Additionally, one of the innovations that's in the marketplace in the near future, 2028 is the targeted timeline for this. This is Nemasphere. This is a product coming from BASF. And so when we think about nationwide, what's our number 1 yield robbing pest, right? It's soybean cyst nematode. And so what we don't know is how impactful it is on every farm. Not everybody has been testing heavily for soybean cyst nematode. The other thing is that as we've used PI 8788 almost exclusively, we don't know how much that is eroding on a field-by-field basis in terms of its ability to help us. So Nemasphere is actually a BT trait coming in, and so it'd be the first BT trait in soybeans. So we think about the cry proteins that were used for rootworm control. This would be a cry protein that would be inserted into the soybeans, and the sense is that it'll come through basically an enlist side. So enlist plus Nemasphere would be a stack that would have the opportunity to come in around 2028, and it will always be paired with either PI 8788 or Peking, okay? And so you won't have a variety that doesn't have a tolerance already from either Peking or PI 8788. And so an example of that, 2997 XF, as an example, would not be a Nemasphere eligible product because the label they're pursuing has always needs to be stacked with either Peking or PI 8788 in the label, okay? And so again, that's a 2028 type of time frame. I was up in Winnemac, Indiana earlier this year looking at some of the trials that they have there. That's an area where there's a ton of cyst pressure and being able to see some of the differences in terms of with and without this stack as far as the Nemasphere. And so we'll continue to look for the evolution in that. It also has a marker for HPPD herbicide. So it could have a herbicide component if they choose to maybe go that route and look at the herbicide option for Nemasphere. So 2027, Viconic type of time frame, Nemasphere 2028. Syngenta is working on an E3 stacked with FG72. Those would be more also in the HPPD family. So again, you think about something in the Callisto or what was a balanced type of chemistries, those families of herbicides, and so they're working towards that endeavor as well. And I think they're going to make an announcement next week around that trait technology as well, as far as that goes. And again, that's closer to the end of the decade type of time frame as far as release of germplasm that carries that trait technology is what we see today. So innovation is at the heart of what we do. It's the heart of what's going to carry us forward into the future, both corn and soybeans. And so Craig shared several examples on corn, and there are several on soybeans that we are working towards and working with, and our partners that are doing the innovation are looking forward to working with Beck's with the opportunity to share those innovations when they come to the marketplace. With that, I'll open it up for questions that you might have for Craig or I, either on corn or soybeans, trait technologies, or kind of anything related to those things. You stretched. No, I'm kidding. All right. Thanks again for coming out today. We greatly appreciate having you here with us, and we look forward to talking to you some more.